A lot of people are always talking about manifesting, but what I found is that they don't seem to talk about why your manifestations don't work. That's Boo Fam. Peace and blessings. This is Derric RauKhu, and I wanted to do a relatively short video on 2 reasons why I have found, based upon my personal experience, why when you're trying to manifest something, it doesn't work. Okay? Now, contrary to popular belief, what I have found, based upon my personal experience, is that a lot of times when you're trying to manifest something, it's tied to your destiny. All right? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about destiny and all that. But remember, your destiny deals with the lessons you're supposed to learn while you're here. We incarnate to this plane of existence, and there are certain things that, certain lessons that we're supposed to learn before we leave here. So what I have found is that when you're manifesting something, okay, you're trying to manifest something, all your manifestations, for the most part, they line up, or they are tied to your destiny. Now, anything that you do, anything that you try to manifest that takes you away from your destiny, it doesn't always happen. Okay? For instance, whenever if you find yourself, I remember once upon a time, I was trying my best to, get an actual position. And I'm trying my best. I'm submitting these resumes, talking to the right people and all this other kind of stuff. And it was like, no matter what I was doing, it still wasn't working. We're talking about, I did readings and all this other kind of stuff, and, talking to my ancestors, having dreams, doing meditations, the whole deal. And it just was not working, okay? And I could feel that it wasn't working. It felt like I was really trying my best to, push a square peg into a circular hole, and it just wasn't working, all right? Now, typically, whenever we hear that kind of, we hear this kind of scenario, basically what is said is that it's not the divine's will. It's not God's will. The spirits are not ordaining it. The spirits are not signing off on it. Okay. Now, I know a lot of people, they don't want to talk about it being God's will and all that, because a lot of us, we come from that religious mindset. But the whole reason why I'm bringing that up, the whole reason why I'm saying it not being God's will is because, or the divine's will, is because that's what ties into your destiny. Okay. So, one of the reasons why you're trying to manifest something and it doesn't work is mainly because it's not part of your destiny. Okay. And if it's not part of your destiny, it doesn't matter what you do. It's just basically the divine is like, I'm not signing off on it. I'm not going to, because whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's going to take you away from your purpose in life. And that's the reason why it doesn't work. Okay. Now, the second reason why I found that your manifestations doesn't work is because the spirits basically, let's see, I would say the universe is kind of like a farmer's market. All right. And basically the spirits are like, the vendors, in the farmer's market. Okay. And a lot of times when we're trying to manifest something, sometimes, or quite a few times, I've noticed is that, it's not, whatever it is that we're trying to manifest, it's not in season. Okay. And that's what I mean when I'm saying it's like, the universe is kind of like a farmer's market. All right. Give you an example. I'm still use that same analogy of the farmer's market. It's like, for instance, if you're going to the farmer's market in the springtime and you say, hey, I want a pumpkin. All right. As you know, pumpkins, for the most part, they are, it's an autumn vegetable. But if you're in the spring and you're trying, it's springtime and you're at the farmer's market and you're asking for an autumn vegetable, then that, like I said, that pumpkin is not in season. All right. So, when it's not in season, basically, there's not a whole lot that can actually be done. Okay. It's almost the same sense if you go to the farmer's market in the wintertime and you're asking for a watermelon. Okay. Spirits are going to be like, okay, that's not really in season. And that's pretty much it. Okay. So that's another reason why whenever you're trying to manifest something and it doesn't manifest, it doesn't come about, it's because it may not be in season. Now, what I have found that happens is that if something's not in season, what the spirits would do is actually they'll try to give you what is called a near equivalent. Okay, so using that same analogy of a pumpkin, if you go to the farmer's market in the springtime and you're asking for a pumpkin, the spirits are going to look around and they're going to say, well, okay, we don't have any pumpkins because that's an autumn vegetable. However, you can take this acorn squash. Okay, now even though it's not, that acorn squash is not completely orange, got a little orange in it, and it might not taste like a pumpkin, but it might be it might get you by. Okay, and that's what I notice how spirits do things. Okay, they're going to give you a near equivalent. If what you're asking for is not actually there, they'll give you something that's close to it. Okay, like I said, same idea. And by the way, if they give you something that's close to it, okay, close to what you're asking for, you basically have two things. You basically have two choices that you can, that lay before you. The first choice, using that same analogy, that first choice is that, okay, you say, all right, well, I have this acorn squash. I want a pumpkin, but I got this acorn squash. Let me use this. Okay. So you can either take that near equivalent and basically run with it, try to make what you can, make out the best you can with that substitute, or you hold out. Okay, and you hold out until that pumpkin comes into season. All right. Now, keep in mind that if you're holding out, if you ask for a pumpkin in the springtime, keep in mind that you're holding out from spring, summer, into the mid-fall probably in order for you to get that pumpkin. Okay. So I'm saying that because it doesn't mean that it's not coming. It just means that you got to really hold the faith and you got to really be strong. It's going to manifest itself. It's just going to take a little time for it to do so. All right. So I just wanted to drop that, this came to mind because again, I'm trying to do some things as well. And, Spirit was like, hey, this might be something this will be helpful for other people as well when they're trying to manifest something, for them to keep this in mind as well. Okay. So again, as always, like I've stated before, thanks again for your support, your donations. Thanks again for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you got any questions or so, feel free to drop me a line. All right. Hopefully that helped you. Take it easy. That's a poo. Peace. No pretending, baby.